There's been a very public and very determined change in policing in the city of Cincinnati the past 10 years.
It was born of distrust between the police and the community, but has resulted in both sides working together to target criminals. 9 News reporter Tom McKee continues our 10 years later coverage with the story of a difficult journey that's paying big dividends.
Regulars at Northside's community council meetings don't think twice about hearing from Cincinnati police. On this night, Sergeant Jason Volkerting updated the Club 360 homicide and sought neighborhood support to challenge the club's liquor license. That two-way interaction is the rule in Cincinnati now, not the exception.
It's an adult, grown-up relationship where, we give each other feedback and provide information, ask questions. Everyone's comfortable with each other, and there's no egos or hidden agendas or anything. We're all here for the same reason.
That wasn't always the case. Chief Tom Stryker says policing in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s was far different in Cincinnati and across the country.
I think the reality of it was that tradition in police department had said, get out there and lock them up. Put a bunch of cops in, lock them up. If you got to knock heads, you got to knock heads.
Cecil Thomas is a Cincinnati City Council member now, but was a police specialist during those times.
Citizens felt that the police, in certain segments of the community, felt that the police were just out there to just lock people up. And officers felt that the citizens weren't being supportive, didn't appreciate what they were doing. And it was just a really, really bad equation.
There was a whole group of people who felt that they were being harassed and that they were being occupied rather than policed. And that created tensions.
Civil rights attorney Al Gerhardstein says he feels that sentiment came from over-policing in black neighborhoods.
We're talking about years and years of perception and reality where the black community was approached in a different way.
That use of police agencies in that fashion, and quite frankly, police agencies allowing them to be used in that fashion in many circumstances, created a real legacy of distrust.
Several notable incidents helped contribute to that sentiment. Police use of force was called into question in 1995 with the arrest of Farron Crosby, and in 1997 with the shooting of Lorenzo Collins, who was armed only with a brick and was undergoing psychological evaluation at the time. Then Gerhardstein filed a class-action racial profiling lawsuit against the police department in March of 2001, and a month later, Timothy Thomas was shot by Officer Stephen Roach.
The explosion occurred. It was inevitable that something was going to happen.
A week of unrest paved the way for the collaborative agreement and a memorandum of agreement.
It was the beginning of change in our city.
U.S. Attorney General John Ashcroft signed the agreement in April of 2002, and the rebuilding of police community trust began.
For us, it became a foundation of a much greater house that we wanted to build, a much better police department.
Court-appointed monitors like Detroit Attorney Saul Green oversaw modification of more than 100 police procedures. Video cameras were installed in cruisers. The Citizens Complaint Authority was created. But it was CPOP, Community Problem-Oriented Policing, that became the core of the agreement.
What we did with community problem-oriented policing is look to the community and say, all right, now we have a way that you can actually get involved with the police and make sure that the type of policing you receive is the type that you need.
The key here, I think, is that police agencies need to see themselves as a catalyst for improvement, a catalyst for progress in a city, a facilitator, if you will, of bringing together different groups, organizations, services, assistance at the most critical time that they're needed.
The result? Police and community leaders working hand in hand with data-driven, laser-focused investigations. Consider the February indictments and arrests of 30 suspected criminals in Avondale, something that both police and community leaders wanted.
They're listening to us. When we say there's a problem here, like, do we have a problem? And we could take it to the district, and they're now listening.
The police custody death of Nathaniel Jones in 2003 produced another major use of force change: tasers.
Tasers have brought down the number of physical contacts tremendously. And it has brought down the number of injuries to officers. It has brought down a number of injuries to citizens.
For the most part, tasers have saved lives because they haven't used deadly weapons. And if they just restrict the use of taser to serious incidents and they don't shoot people that are up on elevated surfaces, Taser has a place in the arsenal.
Cruiser cameras have been a valuable tool to document police procedure and prevent the spread of false rumors. Here, Officer Greg Toyas did not fire at Randy Ward in November 2009 in Spring Grove Village because Ward never pointed a weapon at him. When Ward did shoot at police, cameras caught officers Kevin Newman and Jerry Ennerling returning the fire. The next day, police held a news conference to lay out the facts that were known.
People need to be able to believe in that agency, and the only way you can believe in that agency is if the agency is transparent in every aspect of the work that they do.
Police and community leaders say those are positive signs, but improving relations will always be a work in progress.
It's pretty good now compared to where we were back in 2001.
We are making progress, but it's slow.
I hope people would say that they're better than they were, but not good enough as we need to be.
Tom McKee, 9 News.
As part of this project, we want to hear your story. 9 News will be in several neighborhoods this week. Go to our WCPO 10 Years Later Facebook page to see where our cameras are going to be and when. You can also join the conversation in our special section, WCPO.com/10yearslater, on Twitter at 10 Years Later, and Facebook on our 10 Years Later page.
And you can get involved in changing the city yourself. You can mentor, you can volunteer, or you can help by donating to programs we'll be talking about during our series. Find a list of ways you can do that on our website, WCPO.com/10yearslater.